roll it out. What do you want to know?
Well, Northcliffe, like I remember, well, first of all, this is Glen Smith.
Glen, yeah.
No double N?
It's actually Glendon.
Glendon.
Glendon, but nobody knows me by that name, so
We'll keep that a
a
secret.
miss it.
Yep, no worries. We won't tell anyone. And you've been in Northcliffe a long time, I know.
Yeah, well, me grandparents come on both sides. In one lot, the Daubneys come in 1924, and the Smiths come in 1926, June 1926.
Oh, so they were part of a group.
They both not the same group. The Smiths were on group 100 to 103, and they just started farming.
Yep.
They always had a fair few pigs and cows and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Dairy straight away, or
No, what happened was they cleared the land, and they come with a group. And what exactly happened is that they cleared 25 acres on each person lot, so it might be 20 people in the group, so 20 farms. So they cleared 20 acres, 20 or 25 acres at a time. And they just cleared that on one person's farm, and then they'd go to the next one to start with.
Yep.
And that group had the group camp was near where Duncan Minchin's house is today, and it had they grew their veggies and everything there together. Before then once they cleared their piece of land, they'd go onto their allotted.
They'd move out of the group camp onto their own little
title, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So they'd have a tin hut to start with a dirt floor, and that's how it started. And then over time they built a house. Like they went around like the Munro house over there. They built all those houses. Each family had one of those houses built.
Okay, we were just speaking to Lenny Warren, and she said her first house she lived in was made of what sort of tins were they? Tins cut apart. Had a galvanised roof, but it had the cut apart tins.
Kerosene tins?
Kerosene tins, yeah.
Yeah, well, really, I don't know much about the hut they had, but they had a tin hut.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And where that tin hut was today down at Smith Road, it's got a little patch of, it's not bush, but it's a few trees, and all the trees were ring-barked.
Yep.
What they did was they rung-barked all the trees.
Yeah.
Like on the 25 acres, and then once they shifted into their huts, they still worked together, and they'd do another 25 acres.
Yeah.
Each family.
So explain the ring barking to me. So they ring bark it. The tree dies, takes a year or so.
Lets the light in.
Yep.
And they just cleaned up as all the limbs and whatever fell down.
And but then the main trunk, would they wait for that to fall, or they chop it?
Yeah, well, some of them my dad actually fell them in the night. Like 1965, he probably bought a steel chainsaw, and he fell a lot of them. They were all over the paddock.
Still standing dead.
Yeah, standing dead. The last one fell over last year.
Yeah.
No, that's no lie.
Yeah.
It fell down. It's still, the bit of it's still there. It's about 30 foot high.
Yeah.
But the last one that was standing on that original place fell over last year.
So probably ring bark during the 20s sometime.
Yeah, in 1926, 27 probably.
It lasted 100 years dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. 90 odd anyway.
Yeah. Carry?
Yeah, it was a carry, yeah. It's full of white ants and what have you, and it made a filthy mess when it hit the ground. But I cleaned a lot of them up after my grandfather passed away. I think they come in 26, and I think he passed away in 39.
Okay.
So that's how it began.
Okay, so he died in 1939.
Yeah, and my dad had an older brother who was about 17 or 18, but he was 7 at the time, my father. And my grandmother, run the farm.
Yep.
Mari.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, my grandmother, Annie Violet Smith, that was, ran it from 1936 or up to 1959.
Yeah.
Well, with the help of my dad, probably, of course, and the family. And they just had the one block there and
And this is out on
Smith Road.
Smith Road,
Yeah.
which is off Middleton Road,
Yeah, that's
just
right.
for our viewers.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you got a road named after your family.
yeah, that's after my grandparents. Yeah.
Yep.
What else can I say about it? Yeah, they just kept working away every day.
So your farm is Group 100, was it?
It was 100 to 103. I'm not sure which it is, but I think it was 100 to 103 group, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was Ernie Burton was the next door. I don't know whether you know Ernie,
I've
but
heard of him, yeah.
yeah, he passed away. He was 101, and he passed away about 5 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
He lived out there from when he was 10 to when he passed away. But his dad was the group foreman. He didn't come out from England. He was from up the line. Ernie's parents from up round Donnybrook, and they come down here. But all the other settlers come from
Yeah. So
on
Group
the boats.
foreman was like a paid role. I guess,
by the
government.
government, yeah. And what else can I say about it? Yeah, so they just milked cows. They had pigs, separated the milk and fed the milk to the pigs,
Yeah.
the skim milk, and sold the butter for butter fat.
Yep.
So they had a separator and a hand one to start with, and so you'd wind the handle and separate the cream, and then the skim milk would go to the pigs, and feed the calves off the cows, of course. But yeah, basically.
So I've heard a lot of talk about how group settlement failed because of nutrient deficiencies in the soil, but from some of the people I've spoken to in this room over the last few days, most of the farms do seem to have somehow got past that. Like, so
Well, if you had a carry block, right, like with carry
loam.
trees on them, or loam, or even jarrah with jarrah loam, that didn't need the lime.
right.
So where the blocks failed was when they were sand. And the sand is, say, like a natural
So it's
pH for a
Jarrah
carry.
woodland.
No, for carry
Yeah.
is 5 to 5.5,
Yeah.
right? But for a natural for sand would be from 2.5 to 3.5,
Yeah.
which the pasture will not grow.
Like, so this part of Forest Park here,
Yeah.
going out from this building, all sandy.
Where
and
it's sand.
A little bit of Jarrah and blackbutt
Yeah, but is it loam or sand?
is sand.
Yeah, well, sand. They wouldn't have done so well with that land
Right.
because they didn't know to use lime.
Okay.
Once they learnt to use lime, then that made that land.
So there were, you aware, like, were there groups that collapsed because of that lime
Yeah,
deficiency?
well, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the people that really survived had a fair bit of carry land, the bigger trees.
Right.
You'll find if you know the Smethers, they've got a lot of their place would be bigger trees. Daubneys,
Yep.
down there, anywhere that they've had. Jones is out the end. Alan Daubney's mum's family.
No.
Out the end of the Middleton Road on the right there, the last farm. They were group settlers that stayed there for years. See, Alan's mum was a Jones, and they all had good carry loam,
Yep.
So that's the difference, really. I reckon that was the difference with being able to, because if you've got no feed, you can't produce anything.
And you had you grew onions.
No, I didn't. This is in later years. See what happened then after, like, that was me mum and dad. They had, or my grandmother, they produced milk, had pigs for the milk, milk, pigs, and
I remember doing beans at your place.
Yeah, but this is in later years. Like after that finished in 1975, that milk quotas come, and my dad passed away, in 1975, and then the next couple of years the milk quotas come. I was 14. 15.
So have you worked for Glen, Damon?
Yeah, and Paul and Steve, and I can remember.
Anyway,
I was just telling him a story. Like I used to stand on these little
drum, yeah.
and it just had, we called it the crucifix because our arms hurt so sore the next day. And I go, tunk, 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 tunk. And Glenn goes, no, it's like this. Boom, boom, boom. 3 hits, it was down. And I can remember being in the pub, and we could barely get our glasses up. There's row after row of these things going, dig, 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 dig. And all in here, like.
Yeah.
And Paul and Glenn were not small boys and fit as Melly Bulls.
But anyway,
Steve too, really.
Anyway, after that, through the 70s, in the early 80s, we probably started growing vegetables.
Yep.
Because we give up the milking so we grew vegetables and sold beef. We had runner beans and grew spuds, cauliflowers, tomatoes at one time. We had a go at them. We had a bit of go at everything except for we didn't grow onions or anything like that, carrots. But, beans were fairly successful. But the others just paid their way probably. Yeah.
But you're a dairy again now, aren't you?
Yeah, and then in 1991 I built a dairy and started milking again,
Yeah.
We milk cows now. So, but are we on camera or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
But
You can say whatever you like.
we just milk cows now and just built one or two. I built 2 dairies and bought one. So on different places. So
You built 2 and you bought 1.
Yeah.
So you got 3.
yeah, and we still use 3.
So that's 3 different locations where the milking happens.
Yeah, and we just moved the cows from dairy to dairy wherever the feed is.
Yep.
Okay.
Just go round, and generally we just move every 10 days to 2 weeks.
Yep. So that's a chance. So you can, if you need to do maintenance on one of the dairies, you can
Oh yeah, well,
do it on the circuit.
it helps.
Yeah.
But if you had one shed in your milking, you'd still have to do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't make any difference if you had to do the maintenance, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
So
it's been an interesting journey on the farming side. There's lots of things that happen.
So were you born in Northcliffe?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so was my dad and mum.
So all your earliest memories are from Northcliffe?
Yeah, well, I've never lived. Well, I've probably lived 6 weeks or 8 weeks with holidays outside of Northcliffe.
So now you say your dad and your mum, so they were born in the Northcliffe Hospital?
No, I don't know. My dad might have been born out the house out there
Yep.
at Smith Road.
Yep.
My mum, I think she was born in maybe the Pemberton Hospital, but
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think there was many born in Northcliffe Hospital, but there were a few apparently.
Yeah, Ted Dormney was.
Right.
They called him Edward Northcliffe Dormney.
Okay.
You know, I don't know whether you heard, Jeffrey's dad, Jeffrey Dormney's dad. You know Jeff?
Jeff Daubney.
Colin
think I do.
Dormney?
No,
Yeah.
Colin, yeah.
Yeah, Colin's dad. Yeah, he
Right.
He was born in the Northcliffe. He's the first baby born in the
Denny
Northcliffe.
Smithers.
Yeah, well, don't know where Denny was born. Northcliffe, was it?
yeah. And I think Zona said Brian. I think Brian might have been one of the last.
Yeah.
Like when the hospital closed down, there's a few people. I think Denny was there too. One of the last people born here in the hospital.
Yeah.
He got a funny story about Brian. He used to bring out the. He used to work for his dad in the shop there, and they'd bring, in them days, see, the people never had trucks or anything or much transport, so he'd bring all the pollen for the cows and all the things, veggies and your stores out every week. Yeah. And like by that time, my grandmother, she had where she lived, she had a house. And she had 2 acres that was on an annuity charge. My dad bought it off her, but when she passed away, it went to him. Anyway, but he bought it at the time. And Brian, he'd come up the track past her house instead of going up the other track to the dairy. And she said, don't come up my track because it's buggering it up, Brian, you know, like. Anyway, Brian never took any notice. And the next time he went up there, the window opened, the rifle went out, and he got a few shots straight across the front of his truck. And she said she was shooting at birds in the tree. What was he doing there?
So now, is this the Brian McGregor?
No, Brian Richards.
Brian Richards, right.
You know,
The
like
Northcliffe
that
General
had the
Store.
store in town.
Okay.
His dad,
Yeah.
Tim
Okay.
Richards.
Yeah, G.V.
His
Richards.
dad was Tibby, and he owned the store.
Yep.
Like he did it, he had owned it for years. Yeah, that was one thing that happened for sure. We thought it was a story, but anyway, we asked Brian. It was true.
A few shots across the bow.
Yeah, a few shots slowed him down a bit. Apparently he come up the other track the next time. Yeah, so yeah, and another time because they were tough. Those old people,
Yeah,
you know, they really had tough times.
yeah.
Like, you know, she was a widow, and there's not many widows have stayed on the farms down here, you know, like being widowed and then stayed through. Most of them had an adult, a male or a husband to help them. And she just had her kids, so there was three of them. There was Ina, Vern and Ollie. So I'm sure they all worked together and but yeah, another time with the Pemberton police, she reckoned, I don't know what happened, but she reckoned that they she'd paid a gun licence, she'd given them the cash.
Yep.
Anyway, they said she hadn't. Anyway, there got to be a bit of an argument about it. And anyway, she went up to see him in Pemberton and they were never there. Anyway, she wrote a letter to the head office in Perth, to the police department, telling them that every time she went to Pemberton to see him, they were down at the hotel. Anyway, they come down and ask me, Dad, to tell her to lay off. So I don't know really what the score was, but there was a bit of an argument.
Bad publicity.
Yeah. But she was when she come from England, she was a seamstress.
Yeah.
And she would make beautiful clothes, my grandmother. And you'd see her. When she come to town, she'd be totally dressed up with a hat, and her clothes were immaculate.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. You know, like, even I can remember it as a kid. And the best thing about her was that she'd always, if she come to town on a Thursday or whatever time she come to town, she'd come up and bring an ice cream up to school for me.
Cool.
And like ice creams in them days were like
Special
needles in a
treat.
haystack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like trying to find a needle because you never ever had them.
Was she ever courted again by someone, you know, once she was a widow? Did she remarry or?
Yeah, she actually married Brian de Russett's father
Okay.
for a
Okay,
bit, like right later on, in probably 3 or 4 years before she died, really,
Oh, wow.
when she was 70 or
Yeah, okay.
68, 70, yeah.
Right.
And, yeah. And then they had a few arguments and probably parted ways, I think. I don't really know. I can't really remember too much about it, but, yeah.
How do you
Well,
think Northcliffe's going now? Do you think it's going all right?
Well, I think it's good, actually. To be honest, it's always been good to me. Like, doesn't matter, you know, like times will get tough, but I reckon it will always be here because the land is good. Look, it's generally got good water.
Yeah. How's your water?
Yeah, this year we've got water, yeah, but it's not probably we'll get through, I'd say.
Yeah, it's been the worst year for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, for water it has. We've had plenty of good. I think in the last 30 years we've had a lot of good years.
Sure.
More good years than bad ones, that's for sure. As far as farming goes, yeah, so But I think, basically you just got to stick at it, don't you?
You do.
It's
no
It
choice.
doesn't matter what you do. If you stick at it and you come through one way or another.
Got to be stubborn.
Oh, no, you don't have to be. You just got to keep doing a little bit every day. But, yeah, that's a bit about the farm.
Did you go to any town dances?
Yes, I do. Go to them all.
You still go to them?
Yeah, still go to them. Love them.
So you've been going probably since you were, 16 years old?
No, but probably 5 when my mum and dad went to them.
Yeah,
No,
right.
my mum and dad used to go to them, so we'd go to that. That was a big outing then.
Yeah.
Because what you got to realise, until I was 13 or so, I suppose, below, we'd only ever been to Manjimup once or twice.
I think Steve said to me when I was working, this is in the 90s, he said he hadn't been to as far as Bunbury, and he was 30-something.
Yeah,
I think Manjimup was the furthest he'd been.
yeah.
When he was in his
That's
30s.
exactly right. Yeah. That's how it was, though. Back then, people never moved much because they never had vehicles much, and they never had the money either to do that. See, I can remember my dad took us to Perth when I was probably 12.
Yeah.
And Steve might have went too, but he would have been a baby.
Yeah.
Wouldn't remember
He
it.
didn't remember.
But
no.
I can remember going up the coast road. What's it called? The
The highway.
what's the name of the
Old Coast Road.
Yeah, the Old Coast Road, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a limestone road then.
Yep.
It was limestone. It wasn't. My old man went up there because it was shorter.
Yeah.
And I can remember this ute coming the other way, and its wheels were going like this. No, that's no lie. It was that rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a limestone road up the Old Coast Road.
Yeah.
And it would have been probably, I don't know, that's
Day trip.
55 years ago, probably.
Yeah. So the family had a vehicle at that stage.
Yeah. He had a car. We had a car when he got married, my dad. He bought a car. He bought a brand new Ford Prefect.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, it was like a van back type of car.
Oh, with a van end on it.
Yeah, like
Yep.
a van type sort of thing at the back,
Yep.
like a Ford Prefect, like open all the way through. But
Yeah.
it's just, it was a Ford Prefect. And then once that bit the dust, he bought an old Humber. Used to belong to Dr. Phelan in Manjimup.
Humber.
Humber Super Snipe.
Super
cool.
Snipe.
Yeah, it was quite a modern sort of car, like had wooden dash and
Yep.
right. Yeah. It's sort of like, I don't know, it would have been $1,000. It would have been a lot of money then,
Yeah.
back in the probably 70s, early 70s, I'd say.
Yeah.
Late
Okay.
70s. I remember when he was crook, wasn't going too well, so I got some spark. He'd bought some spark plugs, but he went away because he had cancer and he was going to Perth to get treatment.
Yep.
And he'd go up on the bus or whatever. And I changed the spark plugs, and of course, being a young bloke, probably only 13 or so, I got all the spark plugs mixed around, didn't I? And all it did was go backfire, big bang, and start up and go bang and stop. But anyway, something you learn in life, I suppose.
Yeah. If you had a good dad.
Yeah. Anyway, we progressed on to the bean. I don't know whether it's spoken about doing, but I have, haven't I? Doing the beans, but
Yep.
so what other things? Yeah, no, dances were the main outlet, and then later on, like the sporting things. Badminton. My mum played badminton and tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all liked it.
You been involved in any sports clubs?
Not really, not much. Oh, basketball, played basketball a lot. Yeah. Coached the basketball a bit and
What year was
that
that?
sort of thing. Oh, I can't remember. When I was 24,
Ah, okay.
25,
Yep.
that's probably 40 years ago.
I wonder if you're up on the wall at the rec centre at the moment. They've done
Dunno, yeah.
photos from the last.
I never put any photos. I never had any photos because I think most of our photos, not long before Mum died, her house burnt down. So,
Ah,
2 or 3 years before she died.
lost the family photos.
And a lot of the photos went. I had a few photos of what the sister had, but nothing to do with basketball. But anyway, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You don't. It's like my mum said. You don't realise what you had until you haven't got it.
Yeah.
You go and get something to do something with, and not there because you've lost it all.
Yeah, yeah.
You built it up over the time.
So did the Smith clan come from England?
Yeah, come from Birmingham. The Smith
Have you been in contact with any of the old?
Yeah, we have.
Birmingham Smiths?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not me much, but me relations have. So yeah, and I've talked to them a little bit. The grandfather's sister come out before she died. That's not that many years ago. Probably 30 years ago, I'd say. Yeah, and she would have been a fair age then. She'd have been 86 or something.
Yep.
What they said was, there's that many bloody trees out here.
It's a lot of trees.
You still get tourists to say that at the visitor centre here.
Yeah.
They drive, especially if they drive from Augusta. They're like,
Yeah.
it's just so many trees.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me. I've quite liked it actually.
So what's your favourite local landmark or swimming hole, that you like to go to?
Oh, well, I like Windy Harbour.
Yeah, which beach?
No, not the beach, the cliffs. We go down the cliffs and go fishing.
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah, that's really something that I do like to do. Or down Fish Creek way is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, mainly, that.
Yeah, you got a 4-wheel drive you take out?
Yeah, if we do, go down Fish Creek, either go with someone that's got one or go down the cliffs with Noel Collins a bit. I don't know whether you know Noel, Rodney's brother.
No.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we do that a bit.
There was a question here. It's not my question, but have you ever seen dingoes down here?
Well, not wild ones. So the only dingo I've ever seen is one my brother had. He had a half dingo or 3/4 dingo.
All right.
It was a funny dog too. It'd sit up. It would, if it got with the other dogs chasing the cows into the shed, it would, and the other dog went to bite the cow on the heel, it'd go like that while it snows and hold it.
Huh. Didn't like the other dog biting
the cow, no.
It's really interesting. Funny. So I wonder if dingoes are more of a coastal thing because we had Lenny Warren.
Not in Northcliffe here.
Because she said out of Warren River there was dingoes howling every night.
Yeah, well, I've heard, I don't know whether they're dingoes or dogs because I've never seen them. But when I've been down the coast, I've heard dogs howling, but you can't tell whether it's a dog or a dingo.
Yeah. Do you ever hear that down at Windy?
Well, I've heard that dingoes are very quiet and they don't bark or yell.
Well,
but they might howl a little bit. No, you never heard. No, it's only dogs. I've never seen a dingo down there.
I'd quite agree with that. That dog that Steve had, that had a lot of dingo in him, he didn't say he didn't bark at all.
They're notoriously quiet.
He sat up he lived up the road after Mum's house burnt down. He sat up on this big box and I went up there and there was nobody home. And all it did was it opened its lips and showed me its teeth. Yeah. I thought you never snarled, never made a sound. Just went like that.
That makes it scarier.
Yeah. You don't quite know what it was. I don't think it was a bad dog actually. It wasn't aggressively nasty or anything.
Yeah.
Most barley dogs, which I think is where dingoes came from, they're basically an introduced species because they've only been here for about 5,000 years. They don't wag their tail either. And so when they come up to you, you don't know if they're angry or not, and you're just going to get
you
bitten.
still don't know because dogs wag their tail when they're angry too.
Nah.
Yeah.
I think you can tell if a dog's happy or not.
People have been bitten that way.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a mistake the anger signs for happy signs and get their throat torn out.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. That's good to get you on the record. So what we plan to do is we want to make a documentary this whole weekend. So just have little few little grabs
Snippets,
from the interviews.
Yeah.
But also, each time we interview someone, we'll turn that into its own separate little maybe 15-minute clip. We'll put it on YouTube and
Whatever.
it's be uploaded, and you can send the link to your family members or whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether
The public can also, any random
whatever.
person who's stalking you can watch
Yeah,
it.
be warned, we've got 27 followers, so, we're famous.
No, it's good.
It's a good
bit of
record.
history. It's a history.
Yeah.
Yeah, the history and all. There's a lot of things that probably happened that you can think about, but
Well, that lady, what you call Lenny,
Yeah.
Lenny Warren,
she's 100 this year.
Yeah, she's turning 100 in October.
well, she must have been born when they first come.
Her farm was purchased in 1914, so it wasn't group, it was pre-group, and it was out at the Warren River. But she didn't move here till 1929, I think, and she was 5 years old. She moved from Dumbleyoung. Yeah.
Yeah,
But she had a brother who was born at the Northcliffe Hospital.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of families been through Northcliffe. Heaps of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you only have to look at the pictures of the main street or the new one they've put up at the Pioneer Museum, full of people and shops. It's
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
looks kind of like it did today.
Yeah. Yeah, well, wouldn't surprise me at all. But there was a lot of people here, but yeah.
What surprises me is that the population is about the same from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but there's more subdivisions now. There's more houses.
Yeah, but a lot of the people have gone off the farms.
Right.
Like the out of farms, like all out past me, there's like all them farms out there that not one of them's got, well, people have come to work there, so I don't know whether they were included in the population. They're probably not.
Not so much.
See, like they might be working for Bannister Downs, but they're not registered in the population, but they're actually there. But every house out there had a family on it, or 7 people.
Yeah, I mean, Lenny said she 6 people slept in her bedroom.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense because we've got more houses and still the same amount of people.
Fewer number of people
Yeah, but
per
they're
house.
probably not
Maybe it
counted because they're
They've
like
gone.
employees of like Bannister Downs. Or
Definitely a lot of undercounting on the census for sure.
whatever. Yeah, well, I would say have to be
Yeah.
because if you get more, there was a lot of people in the mill though.
Yeah.
I don't know. All those houses are full. They were in the mill, so I suppose.
Milltowns.
Well, there was another row of houses too at the bottom of
Yeah.
Milltown that's gone now.
Yeah, but they've been gone for a long, long time. Those
Yeah.
houses.
Okay. Did they burn down or something?
No, I don't know. I think they
Rotted.
sold them. Well, part of my dad's
yeah.
house was come from in there.
Okay.
And he would have built that in. I was a kid, so he built it a bit of an extension on. He bought the house and moved the walls and just put the walls up.
Yeah.
So that would have been built in probably mid-60s, I would have thought.
Okay. So I know another tidbit I got from Lenny this morning I didn't know was that the backbone of Northcliffe's economy was tobacco for a period, and then when that collapsed, the Northcliffe
Well, it
suffered.
wouldn't have been for very long. Well, my mum, when she was 14, she used to work for the tobacco farmers, stringing tobacco,
Yep.
because the place I live on had tobacco.
Stringing tobacco.
Yeah,
So
well,
we tie it up.
they have it in a grading shed, and they strung it on wires to probably help dry. They probably put it on wires, and then they build a fire out. They've got those big tall kilns,
Yeah.
and out the back of them they got a half moon, where they lit a fire under it, like bricks going around on a half circle,
Yeah.
and then they put a heap of wood in there, and they lit a fire, and on the top they've got like the draft.
The vents, they've still got
vents,
working
yeah,
ones out
yeah.
at Watermark Kilns.
Yeah,
actually.
that's right. Yeah, that's how they were. Yeah, yeah. Well, all them kilns are like that. You can see it. My kids said, "Who put those bricks there?" Because where the cows been walking down, they walked the dirt away to the dairy, and there's bricks in there in the ground. I said, "They're probably the land settlement or service land settlement would have put that there."
Yeah.
Yeah, there were two. So group settlers and then the war.
Yeah, well, they come after the war, like in 1945, and then they were returned servicemen, all of them. So it's a war service land settlement thing, and some of them were dairy farms, and some of them were tobacco farms. And the tobacco, it finished in about 1969. It was worth a fortune when it was going, and then all of a sudden the price dropped right out of it to nothing.
Right. The East Coast tobacco growers or something.
Yeah, don't know exactly what happened with it, but something happened. And
I've heard a couple stories.
Maybe lung cancer was discovered.
yeah, Michael Eady's used to buy it, I think. What they call whoever he was. But
could have been poor seed as well, like the stock.
I think the tobacco grows all right if you can water it.
Well, it
Comes
grows.
up now, even on my paddocks.
Yeah.
Still, like if you have a bit of a wet summer, wet winter in the wet summer, quite a few plants come up.
I've seen the leaves that big.
Yeah.
Like big, silver beet leaves.
Yeah.
But very mild if you tried to smoke it.
Now you got to cure them first.
Right.
That's what the kilns are for.
Yeah,
Then you got to boil them in
probably
like
kill you.
orange juice and brandy or something, like and honey and
Ooh.
Yeah.
What about honey? It sounds expensive, but orange juice.
yeah. No, just a lot goes a long way. Once you've got a wad of wet tobacco like that, you shred that down. That'll make like 20 pouches of tobacco. It's,
Okay.
I did it once. It's an interesting process. Myrtleford tobacco farmer. His son turned up with a whole bag of, the cured leaves.
Oh, and you took it from there.
No, we both together, we spent a weekend trying to work out what to do, So you got to shred it. Once you've boiled it in all your stuff, you shred it and then you put it in the oven and you just got to keep baking it drier and drier and teasing it and trying to get it to evenly dry out till you get something like what's in a tobacco pouch.
Right. But you've probably never smoked, have you?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, about worst thing I ever done.
Yeah.
I reckon.
When did you kick it?
When I got married, probably just after I got married. When it got to $2.50 a packet, I couldn't afford it.
Okay. Oh, congratulations for realising that. That would have been $2.50 a packet. That would have been the 80s.
Yeah, it could have been. I can't remember. Yeah, early 80s, something like that.
Yeah.
Never regretted not smoking anyway, because I had bad lungs anyway. Had asthma and that when I was a kid. So
Okay.
But I've never really had it since. So
All right.
all right.
All right, let's call it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Stumps.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Glenn. Thank you for being so. You're a natural.
No, I don't think so.